What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about ProText Mobility, ticker is TXTM. I want to give you a good broad overview of everything that is affecting the price, both good and bad. Over and above that, they recently submitted their quarterly financials. So I want to go through that with you, especially more so there is some people maybe misreading some information and under the wrong impression. So I want to go over some fun stuff that you need to know. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun stuff, always greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get right to it. So based on Friday, it was up almost 95%. So a very big day for ProText. There's been a couple of things that has been plaguing them that got it well below its intrinsic value, in my opinion at least. One of which is it got tagged with a paid advertising component. And so that could be seen as a little bit more of a negative. In my opinion, based on what I read, it's not that big of a deal, but the market clearly saw it otherwise. And over and above that, it did get tagged with the caveat emptor. And when it comes down to that, that is the worst of the worst. That's the worst classification for over the counter. So the fact that it got hit with that CE tag is a very negative aspect. Keep in mind when it talks on caveat emptor, there's several different things. I believe that in order for you to be classified as caveat emptor, you have to be involved in fraud or just a fake company or something like that. Basically, they're doubting the company and their legitimacy. So again, CE tag is not good by any means, and typically it does take a little bit more of a time frame to actually get that removed. So I think they are in the process of doing that as of right now. Hopefully, once again, management does a phenomenal job of basically everything as of right now. So let me know your thoughts on that. Plain and simple, this is what brought it down from basically around the 1 cent mark. I did take advantage and I did buy in 2 days ago at 0.0024. And when I say 2 days ago, I mean Thursday. But in general, there's a lot of fear because of this CE tag. And like I said, I think one of the negative aspects of over the counter in general is that 99% of all the companies is basically involved in fraud, or just plain and simple, they don't do exactly what they say. So when it comes down to ProText, they come into the game and so far they're doing everything as what they said they're going to be doing. So I think this is where a lot of investors still, despite everything that's gone on so far, they're still very doubtful of ProText. So again, let me know your thoughts on that. That most likely is one of the attributing causes behind everything, but there's a little bit more of misinformation. So like I said, they did submit their quarterly financials that I do want to go through that with you. But there's some people that is talking on as far as upset the fact that there was no cash, no revenues, things like that in Q3. Keep in mind, Q3 is September 30th, 2022, so the 3 months prior to that. And when it comes to it though, there was this. So there was a massive sale that they did announce that it was even on Yahoo. So a pretty big sale. So it does work out to be 2.33 million pounds. Obviously, they don't really talk on price point and how much potential revenue that is. But as I even mentioned in a previous video, Green Giant did a good summarization of this potentially on how much the sale could be equated to. So 400 million to 1 billion. So that definitely goes to show. And if you look at this, we're only a 29.3 million market cap company. So if this does actually hold out to be very much true about this sale, and this is exactly how much in potential revenue they could get, then we are mind-blowingly low as far as well below our intrinsic value, probably the biggest discount on the whole stock market. So again, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So some people are quite upset. So based on this, so it says no definitive answer. Will there be revenues on the next quarterly results? And Dr. J does say off course. So keep in mind for legal terminology, he doesn't say of course, he says off course. So potentially that might mean no, but on the side note, this is where a lot of people are jumping to conclusions. And I think it's one of those scenarios as well when someone says next week on a Friday or whatever it might be. Keep in mind, September 26th, like I already mentioned, September the 30th is the deadline. So when someone is hypothetically talking about next quarterly results, in theory, at least how I interpret that, is they are asking, is there going to be results or at least revenue in Q4, which based on this, does actually qualify for within that Q4. So again, I don't think Dr. J is lying by any means when it comes down to saying of course or off course, or even if he did strategically not answer the question, just saying off course. I don't know. It's one of those sticky scenarios. So I think this is what is rubbing some investors the wrong way. But once again, if you do take a step back, I personally feel it was expected. I wasn't assuming any actual earnings or any revenue from Q3. And so last night I did actually look through all the quarterly results and the financials. I tried my very best to find any inconsistencies or any negative aspects that is outside the norm, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find any. So I know some people might try and tear this apart and justify certain negative things of this, such as the zero cash and so forth. In reality, I think it is all very much justified, keeping in mind that, like I said, there was no potential revenue. It was very clear, in my opinion at least, that was going to be the case. When you are investing in ProText, you are investing in the long term, plain and simple. I've been saying that almost every single video. But of course, like I said, when people are very doubtful of a over-the-counter stock, people like to jump to conclusions. And the only thing that I possibly could maybe draw some a little bit more abnormalities is, as you can see here. So please list all the subsidiaries, parents, and affiliate companies. So you do see 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗪, Plain D Biotechnology, Cannabis Biosciences, and RSA. So when it comes down to this whole thing, I've looked at this. This is all pre-existing agreements. So this was 2016, 2017. I believe this was 2018 as well. But ProText is obviously the parent company in this regard, even based on at the very top. So I'm just going to scroll right to the top just to give you a good representation of this exact same thing, because it lays out exactly what happened. So as you can see here, the company, meaning ProText, did acquire 100% of the capital stock of RSA Acquisitions LLC. So yes, in theory, ProText is still potentially the parent company in all of this, and RSA is technically under ProText. So it's one of those things. A lot of people are saying, well, technically they don't have to disclose any revenue. They don't have to disclose certain assets or whatever it might be. That is incorrect. Hypothetically, as a parent company, you have to submit all of your consolidated, and that does include all of the subsidiaries. So any revenue potentially that RSA did make during Q3, any assets, whatever it might be, it is supposed to be indicated in this actual earnings. The only thing that I potentially didn't maybe understand, or maybe I might be overthinking this, but RSA Acquisitions LLC, clearly that was a company that was created just for this whole reverse merger. Of course, RSA Acquisitions LLC might not theoretically have had any actual assets, or maybe it was just given some assets from another company. And so oddly enough, I actually did a ProText, so TXTM video back in 2021. So July 2021, when rumors were starting to fly about a possible acquisition or merger and a lot of other things, pink current. There's a lot of things that I did touch on in that video. So oddly enough, I'm cycling back almost a year and a half or 2 years later, or whatever it is. But as you can see, this is one of the articles that did come out in 2020. So it does talk on right here, legal terminology. So it says Republic of South Africa Medical Marijuana Dispensaries Pty Limited, RSA. So hypothetically, is this a different company than RSA Acquisitions LLC? That's the only thing that I could really draw the conclusion to, because based on all the posts and everything, especially the yield and whatever it might be, it does appear that RSA clearly does have a substantial amount of actual assets and inventory, which unfortunately cannot be seen technically on this actual earnings. So once again, if someone is seeing this and maybe they know a little bit more additional information than me, is RSA Acquisitions LLC the same actual company as this one right here that they do reference in 2020? Or maybe it's completely different. They have the legal terminology different in this case. I'm not sure. So once again, that's the only thing I could really draw the conclusion to. I know some people are talking about the assets and why it's at zero and things like that, but maybe it's because of only the Acquisitions LLC having certain amount of assets. Once again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think as far as an investor goes, you need to ask these difficult questions, such as, is RSA Acquisitions LLC possibly this company? And like I said, you have to play devil's advocate, but in the grand scheme of things, I completely think that people are blowing this out of proportion, that September 26th technically is Q4. That's how I interpret that, and that's how I interpret how Dr. J answered. So I don't see anything wrong with anything the management has done, and this is why I still continue to do ProText videos, because I trust the management. And I personally, as far as an investor, I absolutely love discounted stocks, plain and simple. I'm a very big value investor, and like I said already in this video, ProText, out of anything, probably has one of the biggest discounts in the whole stock market. Not necessarily just the OTC, but NASDAQ, New York, every single exchange. This is probably one of the ones that is at the most discount. Like I said, how can we be at a 29 million market cap company when potentially even on a conservative level, 400 million is a revenue source just from that? So once again, it makes no sense if you ask me, but keep that in mind. I'm not a financial advisor, like I already mentioned. So let me know your thoughts on ProText in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on ProText.